Right, it's the Love First podcast. It's your boy Kata Don.
It's your boy Wraith.
We have a very special guest in the building with us today. We have Rain. We have Marc Rain, extraordinaire comedy. You know what I mean? What's up, Marc Rain? Pleasure having
Yo, yeah. What's good?
you. Making major moves, man. Definitely, it got brought to our attention by some of our followers, man. Just some videos that you had going on, and it truly had us cracking up. It was hilarious. I could see like the genuine dope vibes that you had going on because even with your comedy, it also actually has substance in it from the stuff that I was seeing. So it wasn't just like super random, but I see you also incorporate substance into your comedy, which I think is super dope. You know?
Hey, I appreciate that, brother. Seriously, because you know, I went to school for acting. You know what I mean? I have a bachelor in theater, and I've been acting for 10 years now. You know, and it's actually pretty funny because not a lot of people know, but I was going viral on YouTube when I was in college. I was doing some like dope videos every week, like special effects, crazy stuff. And so then like jumping onto Instagram was a nice little segue, you know, but originally I didn't want to be an Instagram. I didn't want to do Instagram skits. You know what I'm saying? You know, shout out to my boy Ken Stars. That's my brother right there. It's like a right hand for me. You know, we grew up on the same block. That motherfucker, my fault, I don't mean to curse. He lives literally down the block from me. You know what I'm saying? So I've known Ken Stars for before MySpace type, you know? And so when, but, you know, through life, as it was going, I was doing college, he was doing his thing. You know, he had his daughter and all that stuff. And then he started doing his own comedy on Instagram. And I had just graduated, you know, like 2-3 years already from college. And, you know, I self-taught myself photography. I self-taught myself how to edit, you know, how to direct. All the things behind the camera is all self-taught, you know, and that just came from trial and error. And then also just watching a lot of YouTube. I tell people a lot that I call it YouTube school. You know what I mean? Like you type anything in YouTube you want to learn, you can learn it. You know what I mean? If you spend the time. And so, you know, I getting to the point, I didn't start Instagram for a minute because all I wanted to do was help Ken. Because Ken wanted to be, Ken's like the super IG, you know, celebrity. And so I was just helping him for a minute. And then a lot of people, including him, was like, yo, why don't you start doing your own skits? And I was like, all right. And so little by little, you know what I'm saying? I started doing videos, probably like 2 years now, maybe 3 years, going on 3 years since I started doing skits, like legit, you know what I mean? Like I'm setting up ideas, I'm setting up stuff. And so I appreciate you saying that because I put a lot of thought into my skits. You know, I want people when they see it to be like, oh, like this was a really well put together piece. You know what I mean? It's not like I just, you know, and no offense to how anyone else shoots, you know, it's their flow. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, like, I'm not usually the pick up the camera and just record the whole thing. I like to show angles. I want to give it a whole experience, you know, and because I'm a filmmaker, you know, I kind of have that advantage. And so I try to put all my talents, everything I can do into different skits, you know, so.
I know you talked a little bit about like the creative process with your videos. Like, where do you like get inspiration? Where do you like get inspirations from as far as like when you're doing like the videos? Because you say you're not just a person that picks up the camera and just records.
Right.
So like the ideas, can you just talk like a little bit about that? Like the ideas that flow through your head before you get to like recording in that process.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I love that question. Inspiration can come from anywhere. You know what I mean? You can hear a good song and like, and everything comes down to imagination. I'm gonna just say that first. Like imagination is key. It is like vital. You need to just be able to play in your mind, you know, and not try to hold yourself back because you're looking at yourself from the outside and maybe you don't want to feel silly or you don't want to look stupid. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to do this, you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta be able to look stupid. You gotta be able to be. You really gotta be shameless. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you see, like a lot of the big IG people, the more shameless they are, the more followers they got. You know what I'm saying? They just let them loose. You know what I'm saying? They be in the street wilding. You know what I mean? And so, for me, my creative process it happens differently. You know, ideas can come from, like I said, music. I could watch one of my favorite movies and see a scene and be like, yo, like, I want to create something like that, you know? And the trick is, the trick is actually understanding how to set it up. You want to set up a joke, right? Punchline. Like, once you know what the punchline is, you just work backwards. You know what I mean? And so it's like, oh, yo, if that happened, that shit would be hilarious. All right, so how we set it up? You know what I'm saying? And so you're thinking about always setting up for the big joke, you know, and then being careful a little bit about how you're doing that, because if you try to oversaturate, you know, a 60-second clip with maybe too many people trying to talk at the same time, you know, or maybe too many jokes, you miss the big setup, which is the big, like, boom at the end. You know what I mean? Which is something I try to really focus on, you know, like I try to also, you know, because I'm a storyteller, I think about the arc, right? And it's really difficult actually to create an arc in 60 seconds. I mean, nowadays you got IGTV, you know what I mean? So if you wanted to create a longer form video, you know, you could do that and put it on IGTV, you know, but you got to be careful then, because most people aren't gonna watch a 5-minute clip as opposed to like 60 seconds, even 30 seconds, you know? And if you focus on views, there's a lot of things to take into account. You know, a lot of people think you just do something funny, you post it up. Like there's certain things, you know, you never really know when something's gonna go viral though. You know what I mean? I'll tell you that. Like, I've put like everything into a lot of videos and be like, yo, this shit is dope, like it's not funny, and then like it got like mediocre. And it's fine for me. I believe in everything that I do. And so I post it regardless of what the outcome as far as views may come out. You know what I mean? Like, if I get 1,000, that's cool. If I get 100,000, that's cool. You know, I love that video though. You know what I mean? Like, it's a work of art for me, you know, because honestly on IG, the more well-produced a video is, sometimes it backfires. You know what I mean? Like, people on IG don't always want to see something so well produced. They used to the World Star-esque, the shock value style video. They want to see real life. You know what I mean? And so when they see something that's like a little bit produced, they kind of like, you know, it's like too done up. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to kind of play. That's why on my page sometimes you'll see the different memes, and I try to cater to, you know, to everybody that wants to see that kind of style video, but in my own swag. You know, I don't ever try to, like, I'm real conscious about my brand and like you said, the substance that I'm putting in. You know, I have a nephew. You know, I think about the kids. Like, these kids are on the internet. You know what I mean? And so for me, there's a lot of that stuff on IG already. You know what I mean? Like, I tell Ken Stars all the time, because he's always trying to tell me, he's like, yo, bro, I don't know why you just don't put a girl in your video, and like, you know what I mean? I'm like, bro, it's not always about that for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not always, to me, that's not the only thing that's funny. You know? And so I try to be different with my jokes. You know, I think if you go to my page, you aren't gonna find too many videos that have the same punchline, which is something else. You know, a lot of people with the biggest followings, again, not to take any shots, everybody has their own flow, and if it's working, it's working. But some people have like that one joke, you know what I mean? And it's good every time, you know, but it's like, you know what's gonna happen at the end. You don't care. You just wanna see how it's gonna happen, but you know what's gonna happen at the end, you know? So I try to make it every time a different punchline, so that you're not really sure what exactly is gonna happen. Sometimes you're gonna, you know, sometimes you're gonna predict the ending because, you know, just you see the setup, you see what's getting set up. You know what I mean? And that's not always a bad thing, because then the audience is engaged. They're like, oh shit, is it gonna happen? Oh, it happened.
Definitely. Actually, I have a question for you too, because you did mention Ken Stars, and for our viewers who may not know, he also does you know, amazing comedy skits, has a large following as well. So just as far as teamwork and collaboration, and that's kind of something that we talk about on this show a lot. Can you talk about, even with a situation like that where you guys are both building, you guys have followings, and sometimes egos and stuff can come in that way, but how do you make collaborations work and come together as a team? You know, for those people trying to come up and build as a team, work with others.
You know, you gotta be patient. You gotta be flexible with this art. Because sometimes some people want to get this very specific shot. And I get it. But if you ain't got a budget, if you ain't got a means to make that happen, you got to figure out another way to get it done, And sometimes those be the funniest videos. I don't know if you've seen like when they use like cardboard stuff, you know what I mean? Like people use the simplest things to make believe, and those be the biggest hits, So as far as collaborating with Ken Stars and even the whole gang, the squad that we got, it really, it's true. You gotta definitely leave the ego. I'm not a person that carries my ego around, that way. I don't make decisions like that. I'm all about uplifting and working together, because honestly, that's going to create the best results. If we're all leaders, you understand, working together, we gonna be Spartans in the party, you know what I mean? And so as far as me and Ken, I mean, like I said, I grew up with him for years, decades now, actually. And so that chemistry is just flawless, you know what I mean? Like, that's why me and Ken, we have so many videos together, because number one, he lives right there. He come through, we chill, we talk, whatever, we meditate. You know what I'm saying? We get the creative juices flowing. And like, sometimes it's a premeditated video. Sometimes it's a skit that we've had in our minds for like 2 weeks. We're like, all right, we finally got the props, we got the setup, we got whatever we need, whoever we need, we're gonna do it this day. And sometimes we're just chilling and on the moment. You know what I mean? We'll be just cracking jokes because that's all we do. And then we're like, yo, we got to do that right now. And then so we're like, fuck it, let's do it, And so the collaboration, we just, like I said, very flexible. A lot of times Ken has an idea, but doesn't know how to close it out. So he'd be like, yo, Marc, what you think about this idea? We'll hash it out. And I'm like, boom, this is the punchline again, you know what I mean? The whole setup. And so it works really. And then because I'm very technical, as also as a filmmaker, I know what shots you should have so it has a greater effect. You know what I mean? Certain angles give you certain different information. It's not just let me, like if I shoot above you, then that's making you look smaller. If I need to have that effect, if I shoot below you, that's gonna make you look bigger. You know what I mean? And if I shoot behind something, that means, somebody may be watching me. Like it's just different things, And so when we come together, we throw ideas, everyone's throwing the ideas, and then it's like, all right, so how do we get that done? You know what I mean? It's, oh yeah, I know how to do it, And it just really works, You just can't really have the ego, like you said. Usually we've worked with people that have egos. They're still doing fireworks over here. It's crazy. We've worked with people who have egos, and that usually turns out to be a subpar experience. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? It's like, they have a certain number of followers, just know someone, and but that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen often.
Yeah, we know people like that.
It's and if there's anybody that's like watching and listening, you know what I mean, like you got to be able to check it, because the higher you go in any industry, people don't want to really deal with that. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're gonna be a brighter star, the more collaborative you're trying to be. That's not to say that don't let people stomp on you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like you can't just let people run all over you in the name of like not being confrontational. You got to be able to communicate. And there's times where, for example, like if I have an idea, I bring it to Ken. We're bouncing back and forth ideas, but we're not really agreeing on how we should end this. Usually because it was my idea, we may just go my route. It's like, all right, well, this is your video, so whatever, let's just do it your way. But the energy is so good all the time that really happens also. Like we're always like in unison with like how we want this to end.
Yeah. And just to capitalize what you just said, because I think that's a major key. and building partnerships and collaborations where, like you say, you let the ego go, where it's like, all right, you came up with this video, we'll let you go that way. And having that humility, because who wants to be right all the time, then you have no partners and you're not going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's better to win the big picture, the overall thing, you let that go. And that's a major key to success. So thank you for sharing that. I just had to highlight that.
Because look, honestly, at the end of the day, this entire life is trial and error. I don't want to get too deep. Maybe have to be a whole nother conversation. You are my brother? Yeah, you already know. I'm gonna hit you. Oh, you're the man, bro. You already know. I got you. My four fellas. You know, not to get too deep, but the whole, you know what I'm saying, this whole thing is trial and error. And the more of that you do, the more that you're gonna discover. You know what I'm saying? Because lack of resources produces more creativity. If you don't know how to do it, then you got to find a way to get it done. Yep. You know, and then it comes down to, you know, your will and your drive. Like, really, you know, how bad do you want this? You know, and that's in any field. You know, you don't have to be in the entertainment industry, but if you're thinking about the entertainment industry, I'll tell you this: you got to throw your whole life at this. Yeah. This isn't a part-time thing. If you're thinking this is going to be like, I could do this once in a while, then you're just going to get a once in a while result, which usually leads to nothing.
Amen. Man, preaching in that.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, this is, you know, this journey, you know, and you, if you look at the, you know, the legends and the people that we look up to and watch now, the big screens, if you watch and if you listen to their stories, you know, there's always like a common denominator where there was this just grand struggle, but they never gave up and they completely believed in themselves, you know, and then they worked their entire life off, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it takes. Because at some point, you know, somebody's gonna recognize the real and be like, yeah, we need you. You know what I mean? I think the last story that I was listening to was Tiffany Haddish. She was talking about how Kevin Hart, I don't know if you heard her story, but, you know, long story short, she had a crazy hard life. But the way she came up was she was doing a comedy stand-up show here in New York, and Kevin Hart pulled up, saw it on the side, came and talked to her afterwards, and she was by her car. But she had all her stuff because she was living in her car. So he was like, yo, like, why you living in the car? And she was like, oh, I'm in between moves. She was joking. You know what I mean? So he laughed, and she was like, nah, like, I live in my car. And he was like, nah, like, why are you doing that? You know, you could, you know, I'm sure any man would love to take you in. And, you know what I'm saying? You don't got to be sleeping in the car. She was like, nah, I would never sleep with somebody just for a roof over my head, right? So it's like, dang, she grinded that out. So he saw that and was like, bet, you know what? Write down your goals. And you hear this a lot, write down your goals. Because it's just like this thing that we don't understand about manifestation. When you write your goals and you send that intent to the universe and then you work for it, that's the magic. Yes. But anyway, that's what she did. She wrote it down, she worked, he helped her. It didn't happen fast though, you know, and that's another thing people need to also understand, that this is not an overnight thing. Yeah. It can happen overnight, but it's not overnight. Like, it took her 2 years to get her first big thing after that whole encounter with Kevin Hart. So still took 2 more years of her grinding, you know what I mean? But, you know, it just really takes that relentless, rebellious artist spirit to go all the way. Yeah. And then do it out of love, which is funny because it's love first. Like, you gotta do this for love first. Yes, yes. So plug in. That's a whole fact. You gotta do this out of love first, because if not, it's displaced. Like, where you're like the way your passion is hollow. You understand? Like, you can't do this for too long if you don't love this. I'm telling you right now. You gotta love it, because this shit is suffering. This thing is pain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna struggle, but you know, this is why you gotta love it. I love it. You know what I mean? Definitely. And so it's all a part of it.
No, definitely. I mean, and you dropped some major keys all through that. Just keys. I need the sound effects when we drop, like, but definitely, and even I think I want to make that the title of this video too. Just write it down, your goals, because people don't get how how important that is, man. Because you can say this is my goal all your time. I recently did that this year, man. I put a board in my room. I wrote down, I filled the board with goals. The next month, I was able to erase 80% of it and write new ones. You know what I'm saying? So it's that. What you said is beyond real, man. Beyond real. I do have a question, you know, especially for people trying to come up, monetize what they're doing, man, doing what they love. So first, I want to know, what's your favorite social media platform? Why? And how do you monetize it so everyone can learn how to monetize?
Word. My main platform is Instagram right now. A lot of people are telling me I should jump on the TikTok wave just because of my vibe. They're like, yo, a lot of people, you know, are gonna wanna follow you on TikTok. I just have this thing about TikTok. I don't know.
Tell us.
Wait, what's the thing? We got
It might be the same as me.
I just don't want to be like. You know, I'm good, bro. But I'm thinking about it, you know what I mean? Because a part of this whole thing is you got to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, play your way, but you got to play the game.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what I mean? What are you doing? And so Instagram is my main platform. I post sometimes on Facebook, but I kind of like leave that for like real close friends and family that I've known for a long time. Instagram is like the main outlet for me, you know, because honestly, it's a whole job. Social media is a job. It literally is like a career, like a social media coordinator, a social media like I don't know what the term is, but somebody that's handling your social media for you. That's a legit job these days because it's a lot of work. I'm not gonna lie to you. You know what I mean? Like coming up with ideas, then executing, then editing, then posting. You know what I mean? Like and then trying to be consistent, trying to be frequent. You know, that's another thing for me where like I don't rush my content. You know, that's probably why I don't have even more followers than maybe I should have, because I won't do it unless I love it. You know what I mean? Like I gotta really like see it, and you know, otherwise I'll just keep doing videos on other people. I feel like a music artist. Like, I'll just do features on other people's pages. You know, I'll just be on other people's pages. You know what I mean? And if I really like the video that we did, then I'll post it on mine. You know? But, I like to keep my page very sort of clean-ish, you know what I mean? Because I got raw content, I got sexual content, but I make sure that it like grazes that sexual edge where it's not like, you know, too explicit, you know? But anyway, and then as far as monetizing, man, it's a tricky game, you know, because this whole thing is actually new. This whole social media influencer, comedian, actor, you know, like it's a really great space, you know, because there's no set rules. You know what I mean? If somebody hits me up from promo, I could charge them whatever I want. They may not pay it. You know what I'm saying? But then they may actually pay. You know, I've done promo work that they pay for it. And so, you know, when it comes to monetizing, at least on Instagram, because if you go to YouTube, that's a whole different game. You know, Facebook's a whole different game. You know, TikTok is still too brand new to even think about monetizing. But I'm sure, you know, the biggest TikTok people are making money because it's like advertisement, bro. If you think about it, if you're even if you're averaging, you know, 10,000 views a video, that's 10,000. That's 10,000 views. That's not the impressions, because impressions is a whole nother thing. That's people that are looking but didn't watch the whole thing. You know, and usually the impressions might be like double. You know, but if it's a product, then you got 20,000 people now. That's paid advertising. That's why sometimes you see it on Wordstar, you'll see it on some other major IGs that be like sponsored, you know, or paid advertisement. You know, because it's money for them. You know what I mean? Like I did that cake video. I did that Tres Leches comedy promo joint for the dude. He had, in my comments alone, he had like 10 new customers. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? At like $60 a cake. You know what I'm saying? And so like, you know, at the end of the day, you got to try to make it, if you're trying to monetize, you got to make sure that you're trying to make it worth it for your clients, for the people coming to you that's going to want to pay you for this investment, you know, because they're going to ultimately want their money back. So as far as monetizing on Instagram, that's one of the main, you know, you got to get your numbers up though. I'm not going to lie. You know what I mean? Because, you know, people gonna pay you because you get certain amount of views, you know, and that's gonna change depending on the amount of views. Like, I'm not gonna charge the same number Ken Stars is charging. You know what I mean? Like, he's in the millions when it comes to impressions, and so that's a whole other thing. Yeah. You know, and it all depends. You know, honestly, it's like anything else. What you put in is what you get out. You know, and so if you're focusing on monetizing, then build your platform. Make sure that people understand that's what you're ultimately building up to. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like, this whole thing is, for me at least, I'll speak personally. Like, for me, I'm always, the way I've climbed, at least in my craft, is you got to be honest with what you're doing, right? You got to look at your product. Like, I'm a photographer, right? So, like, when I first started taking photos, I took a really nice photo, right? And people were like, yo, that photo is awesome. And that sparked my curiosity. And I was like, I want to take, like, awesome photos. And I want to take even better. And I took better photos. And I was like, even better. You know what I mean? And every time I'm looking at it, I'm like, and people are like, this photo's gorgeous. And I'm like, thank you. But I needed to be better. You know what I'm saying? And, like, you never should, like, feel like you know it all. Stay in that learning curve. You know what I'm saying? For the rest of your life. Because that's, you know, think about it like this. This is the curve, right? If you feel like you got it all, the curve goes like this, and at some point it plateaus. At some point in your life, and not for the rest of your life, you're here till you're gone. You stay in that curve, and you stay in that curve, and you stay in that curve, and for the rest of your life, you continue rising. You understand? Stay in that learning curve forever. You know, and that's gonna be the trick, because for everybody, it's gonna be something else. It happens different for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, depending on your flow, depending on your platform. You know. And that's one of the other major keys to this. And for my page, you have to find your style. What's your style? The videos, what do they look like? What do they sound like? What's the comedy like? What's your style? You know what I mean? I could go and name a bunch of people, but if you go to their page, you know, like, for example, if you go to, I don't know if you know Chicklet and Milani, you know, they're, like, you know, in the millions of followers. You go to the page, you're gonna expect relationship stuff. You know what I mean? And that's their style. You understand? So you just gotta know what your style is. You go to Ken Star's page, you're gonna get a whole lot of wild, crazy, funny, and a whole lot of cheeks. You heard?
I was wondering how you was gonna say it. Like,
that's his style. That's his style, man, and it works for him. You know what I mean? You gotta know that. Like, I know, you know, there's this dude, like, you know, I mean, there's just so many. I could literally go off and name so many people, but they have their own specific styles, you know. And I think even now, after this, if you go on Instagram and you start looking and you start paying attention to styles, you're like, you just, it all starts to make sense. You're like, you know, it's really like a big puzzle piece. Yeah. It's not easy though, man. It's not easy.
No, definitely. Like, so even what you were saying, you know, because when you were dropping keys, and it's just kind of dope. I'm curious, what is your favorite project that you've worked on? Out of all the projects that you've
man. That's a lot, bro. That's a lot of projects.
It's hard because they be like your little babies, right? Like,
I got so many kids, yo.
Yeah.
My kids got kids, yeah. No, but, you know, I've done a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'll be honest. In 10 years, you know, I came from theater. I've done a lot of plays all over the city, in really dope venues, in front of hundreds of people, in front of important people. You know, from as far as Broadway, and all those projects were dope. I learned as an actor. You know what I'm saying? Like, crying on stage for my first time, singing on stage for my first time. You know what I mean? Movies, oh man, so many movies, bro. Like, I guess I gotta just keep up with the most recent one, you know. Anna Adore and Subpoena. I guess they're a good strong tie. These are my two most recent films. You can go check them out right now.
Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah, Anna Adore is on Amazon Prime, and then my other film is called Subpoena. That one you can find on YouTube. That one's a short film, but it's a comedy. Yeah. But it's hilarious, man. Like, my character, he has to go to court because he got caught illegally downloading porn. So, yo, it's crazy. It's a crazy, it's a funny ass movie, you know. So I love it, you know. But I got, and so then there's Anna Adore, you know, and I love that film because that's actually my first lead role in a feature film.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm just really proud of how that film came out. You know, I mean, it's an indie project.
Congrats
you know,
on that too, man.
for,
Congrats.
thank you, brother. And but you know, but for the budget that we had, like, I'm just so happy. Like, you know, it just goes to show you, you don't always need a lot of money. You just need a lot of effort and a team. You know what I mean? With a team, you don't need $1 million. You know what I mean? Everybody put hands and feet, you get it done. Right now, I'm working on a couple of things. You know, I've shot films. I have a film that I directed last year that's done. I'm going to submit it to film festivals. I directed, shot, edited this. There's even I even got a cameo in the film, but that's a whole story. You know, I've shot a bunch of, I've directed, shot a bunch of films that I love. You know what I mean? So it's really hard. I have this new project though. I don't know if you've seen it. Actually, 2 new projects. One's already almost done. It's called Super Blocked.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that on my page. I gotta like maybe repost. We shot about 70% of the film, and then COVID happened, and so we had to shut it all down. You know what I mean? And Super Blocked is a comedy. It's a feature film. I'm the lead actor in that one too, and it's hilarious. It's about this guy he's an entrepreneur, and he realizes that there's a business in cock blocking.
Yeah, I know some professionals with that.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about monetizing. If you're good at it, monetizing.
Oh, I gotta see that. That.
So that movie is gonna be, oh my God, there's so many dope people in that film. Yeah. Honestly, it feels like one of those like hood classics that you watch, like, oh, he's in this? Oh, she's in this? Oh, he's in this too? Like years later, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's mad successful and shit. And you look back like, yo, this is a hidden gem. Like 10 of these motherfuckers is in here. You know? Feels like that kind of film, man. That shit is gonna be so dope. So hopefully we're gonna pick back up in September to finish that film. And then I have a brand new project that I'm gearing up for in September also. And that was called Performing Hearts. And this one I'm really, really looking forward to because it's an artist film. And what I mean by that, like, it's a performing artist film. So it's about this girl who's an actress who went to school, got her education in acting, and then she, long story short, meets this guy who is a social media actor and doesn't have education in acting. But they're both trying to be successful during this COVID era, of course, and also try to be in a relationship, which is a whole nother thing. To be in a relationship in this industry is we need a whole nother podcast session. but you know, I'm really excited for this project because through this character, I get to give perspective, because film is always just perspective. That's what we want to give to people as filmmakers, as artists, storytellers. We want to give audience perspective. So we change hearts. That's how we change the world, right? And so with this film, I get to speak to the actors, you know, people that went to college and got the acting degrees. And then I get to speak to the social media actors, you know, the people that just discovered that they wanted to be an actor because they got Instagram on the phone, you know, and they got a lot of followers, because it's a major difference, you know. And sometimes I'll be honest, as somebody who went to school for acting, sometimes I see Instagram videos, you know, and I'll go to their page and it says like actor, and I'm just like, no.
Can you tell us a little bit about the difference between
So right, and so what's awesome is that in the film I get to really flush out that whole perspective. But what's awesome is that I'm the social media guy, so I get to give the actor, because as a person that actually does both, I have both perspective, and I've learned as an actor that there's magic in the ability to just do it. And when you're a social media influencer, when you're social media actor, that's your magic of just doing on the spot without thinking about it. We're not thinking too actory. We're not thinking it needs to be perfect. Fucking get it done, you know? And then it gets done, it gets followers, it goes viral, we're like, it's lit. right? And then like the actor watches that and is like, oh, you know, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, and so, but a lot of actors what they need to learn from social media influencers, actors, is that ability to just do it and not think too much. Because as an actor, we think too much. There's a lot of things that goes into acting that's way beyond just memorizing lines. A lot of people think it's just, you know, I got these lines, let me memorize and I'm going to talk about it. You know, there's scene breakdowns. Like when you understand how to read between the lines, break down every single word, your intention, the undertone of what you're trying to get across in the scene. Every scene has a goal for your character. What do you want in this scene? And the more life and death the stakes are, the better this is gonna be. And so there's just a lot. There's a lot of thought. There's a lot of like decisions you have to make. They're called. There's a lot of imaginary circumstances you have to create for your character, so that you're literally living in the moment, you know, as this character. And so when you take into that account, and you know, when you watch your movies, you know, it's all seamless. You don't really think that all these things are being taken into account, but there's hours of rehearsal. There's you know, so much chemistry building that has to get done. You know, you have to learn actually the first thing you have to do is memorize the lines, and then you do the work. Because once you know the words, you're not thinking about what's my next line. All you're doing now is just feeling, reacting. It's like this, it's a dance, man. Like especially when you got a good actor you're working with and they're giving you energy, you're like, oh, this is about to be a fire scene right now. You know what I mean? And so it's just a little bit different. Whereas like social media, you're not taking into account your relationships with all the other characters. You're not taking into account, like, these things aren't really ever really being thought about. It's like, yo, what's this funny ass skit we gonna do? You gonna walk in, and then she gonna pop her ass on to it. We're gonna be like, like, there's not, you know. And I'll say this: I've seen some really, really dope videos on IG where, you know, there are other content creators that I can tell they're producing a lot more for these IG skits. You know, they're really well edited, they're really well shot, you know. And so there are social media influencers, actors, filmmakers that are putting in that kind of work too, you know. The trick now that everyone is waiting to see is how this plays out, and can you transcend from social media into the elite level? You know what I mean? And there's very few people that, you know, are even rubbing elbows with the elites because they're social media influencers, you know. But it's really difficult, you know. I really walk a fine line between the both, because as an actor, like, my goal is to be a movie star. I want to be the first, like, major Latino action hero. You know what I mean? I have a lot of goals and stuff, but like, so I got to be careful, because if as a director, right? Let's say my favorite director, Christopher Nolan or Martin Scorsese even. Is Martin Scorsese going to look for a social media actor when he's considering his, like, you know, his next big roles? You know what I mean? Unless it's a social media related film and that's the substance, that's the content, he's going to want real life. So he'll look for that. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to casting for, like, major stuff, when you get to like agency level, when you get like real high up, yeah, no one has really transcended like that. I think the only person that I've seen that started to do like real movies and they came from IG is oh man, what's this dude's name? He's mad funny. LA. I shouldn't have smoked before, my damn. Man, I know his name on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, he's doing some really cool stuff. He got like 2 films on Netflix right now, actually. And you know, he's climbing that ladder. And so, you know, it's just a really interesting time for this whole social media thing. As far as like content creation goes, you know. Because I'll tell you this also, especially right now, is because of this COVID, there aren't many productions shooting movies. There's no theater happening. So a lot of the online streaming platforms are really looking for content. So right now it's actually a really, really beautiful moment for indie filmmakers to make something so that they can sell and monetize. Like Anna Adore it got over 200,000 minutes streamed on Amazon. You know, which is fire. You know, I mean, I'm like, wow, I didn't even expect that. You know, but I think it's a good movie, but also because people are at home watching. They're looking for things to watch. They already saw everything on Netflix. They saw all the big movies already. What else is here? What else is here? You know what I mean? And so even Netflix, you know, they put the Michael Jordan documentary on Netflix, and that was the 30 for 30 exclusive on ESPN. You know what I mean? But Netflix has none of their stuff in production. You know what I mean? They need content. They need content. So right now, if you're making content as a social media person, as an indie filmmaker, like it's go time. You know what I mean? It's like right now is a really nice time to come up as an indie person.
Lovely. Man, we appreciate, man. You drop so many keys, man, more than we can even count, man. Like I suggest everybody, man, that heard this, man, y'all heard the wisdom coming from this song for the wisdom, and he has very entertaining content. So make sure y'all follow us. Let them know your Instagram and your YouTube, but we'll make sure we got the link so they can click on it.
But I don't have my YouTube anymore. We let that go some years back, but you can definitely find me on Instagram at Marc_Reign. That's MARC_REIGN. And also, if you wanted to check out some of my photography, it's marcreign.co. Same MARCREIGN.co.
The Amazon Prime link, so make sure we're supporting the movie, and we got to support each other out there, man. The people that we see on the come up, these are the ones that we should be helping, right? The big movie stars, they got their millions, billions already.
Exactly.
You got to support brothers like this that, you know, a business owner, you know what I'm saying? We got to help each other, support each other. So I'm going to definitely check that out and support. And I'm interested in Subpoena too. So how do we find that?
I'll send you that, man. I'll send you all of that. I'll send you that because, yo, that movie's funny. That shit is hilarious.
Hilarious. We need a cameo in something too, man.
I got you. And for Super Black, as a matter of fact, you know, when we start production, there's gonna be a party scene. So I'm gonna hit y'all up if y'all wanna,
it might be meant to be because we have a video shoot, Superflow, coming up, right?
Nice.
We got to get you in that. You get us a cameo, Super Black. We got you a cameo.
Let's go. I'll pull up Millie rocking. You already know.
Thank you. Man, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on the show with us, man. And why I hate when you can love first. It's the Love First podcast.
Yeah. We gotta show love first like our podcast. Put the work in, trying to make it last. Seen enough deaths, I don't need no more. It's like our nation trying to start a civil war. We gotta show love first like our podcast. Put the work in, trying to make it last. Seen enough deaths, I don't need no more. It's like our nation trying to start a civil war.
Black, Latin, Indian, Asian, and white. Whole lives matter, but let's get it right. There's a specific group of people needing help right now. All lives matter, yeah, no, calm down. So can we get together, stop the hurting right now? It's